I have subsequently made clear in every public statement on the matter.
Your actions made it clear, General. Let me ask you one last question. When men follow a United States senator who happens to be a female into a women's room to harass her about her beliefs, why is that just part of the process, as President Biden says? But when a parent goes to a school board meeting to protest that her child is being taught that babies can be white supremacists, is subject to FBI prosecution.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fiery exchange between Senator John Kennedy and Attorney General Merrick Garland during a recent Judiciary Committee hearing. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's break down what happened and why this matters. Before we jump in, if you're passionate about understanding key moments in politics, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. All right, let's get into it. The first big moment in this hearing, Senator Kennedy questioned Garland about a letter from one of his U.S. attorneys. The letter suggested parents protesting at school board meetings could be prosecuted, even for repeated phone calls. This letter opens the door for criminal charges against parents for what many consider normal, non-violent expressions of their views. Kennedy's concern? That this was taking things way too far. Now this is where things heat up. Kennedy implied that the National School Boards Association, NSBA, was working with the White House to craft a letter. Once finalized, it was sent to the White House, who allegedly pressured Garland to act. Kennedy was basically saying, the White House is calling the shots here, Garland, you're just carrying out their orders. But Garland denied this, claiming the memo was his decision. So who's pulling the strings? That's the million-dollar question, and it's what Kennedy kept pushing Garland on. Garland didn't back down, though. He said he didn't talk to the White House about it at all. His reason for the memo was clear, to protect public officials from violence and threats of violence, but he claims the rights of parents to voice their concerns at school board meetings should be fully protected. Now think about that for a second. He's saying his memo was only about violent threats, but Kennedy wasn't buying it. To him, this was more about intimidating parents and stifling free speech. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. Kennedy didn't let Garland off the hook. One of his main criticisms was that Garland didn't investigate the incident cited in the NSBA letter before issuing his memo. This is huge. How do you issue a federal directive without verifying the facts? Even Garland admitted that most of the incidents cited weren't violent and were likely protected under the First Amendment. So, why was the memo issued? This is where Kennedy's concern about the chilling effect comes into play. Parents fearing that showing up at a school board meeting could land them under FBI scrutiny. Kennedy wrapped up by driving home the importance of parental involvement in schools. He argued that when parents are scared to speak up because of federal intimidation, it could have serious consequences not just for school policies, but for the next generation of kids. In his closing words, Kennedy got personal, telling Garland he's become someone he said he wouldn't be, a disappointment to those who trusted him to uphold their rights without bending to political pressure.
What I mean, we know that the National School Board Association was upset because parents were coming to school board meetings to object to the teaching of critical race theory. We know that in drafting the letter, the National School Board Association collaborated with the White House for several weeks. They worked on it together. And we know that the National School Board Association, once the White House and the association were happy with the letter, the National School Board Association sent the letter to the White House, and the White House promptly called you and said, sic the FBI on parents at school board hearings. And that's what I mean. The White House is the prophet here. You're just the vessel. Isn't that correct?
Senator, I did not speak with anyone from the White House while I worked on this memorandum. This memorandum reflects my views that we need to protect public officials from violence and threats of violence, while at the same time protecting parents' ability to object to
Right?
policies.
I
of
get
schools
that.
they
I've heard
disagree
your
with.
testimony. Were you worried that you would be fired if you didn't issue the memorandum?
Senator, I'm not, I decided on this memorandum on my own. I don't care. I said from the very beginning, I've taken this job to protect the Department of Justice, to make independent determinations with respect to prosecutions and investigations, and I will do that.
Okay.
I'm not concerned about.
Sorry to
being
interrupt,
fired.
General, but I don't have much time. Now, when you got the letter that, from the White House that prompted your memorandum to give the FBI new duties in making sure our parents aren't dangerous domestic terrorists, you didn't investigate, before you issued your memorandum, the incidences cited in the letter, did you?
Look, I took a statement by the National Association, which represents thousands of school board members, when they said that they were facing violence and threats of violence, and when I saw in the news media reports.
Yeah, but you didn't investigate the incidents in the letter, did you?
No, this is the first step. This is an assessment step. It comes before investigations. The purpose of
Right.
this
Before you issued your memo, you didn't investigate the incidents.
the memo is intended to begin assessments. It is intended to
And in
ask-
fact, most of the incidents in the letter did not involve threats of violence, did they?
I think that's correct. Most of them did not,
Yeah.
and they would not be covered by either federal or state law. I agree with that, and they would be protected by the First Amendment. But threats of violence are not covered by the.
Can we agree that we have thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of kids growing up today who are more likely to commit a crime and go to jail than own a home or get married?
I don't know about the comparative statistics. I do know there are too many people who are committing crime.
And one of the reasons for that is lack of parental involvement, isn't it?
I think parental involvement is essential. I think it's the key both to bringing up good kids.
So why do you want to issue a memorandum listing incidents that you didn't investigate, that anybody who has any fair-minded knowledge of the world knows is going to have a chilling effect on parental involvement with respect to what their kids are learning at school?
I just want to be clear again, Senator. My memorandum did not list any of those incidents.
Come on, General, we both know this had a chilling effect. You don't think there are parents out there in the real world that said, oh my God, maybe we shouldn't go to the school board meeting, there'll be FBI agents there? We live in this isn't La La Land.
I tried to make as clear as I could, and now I have subsequently made clear in every public statement on the matter.
Your actions made it clear, General. Let me ask you one last question. When men follow a United States senator who happens to be a female into a women's room to harass her about her beliefs, why is that just part of the process, as President Biden says? But when a parent goes to a school board meeting to protest that her child is being taught that babies can be white supremacists, is subject to FBI prosecution?
The description that you just gave, that parent is not subject to FBI investigation, and there's nothing in this memorandum that suggests this. We protect United States senators against threats of violence.
You did a good job with Senator Sinema.
Within the last.
Wow, that was intense, right? This exchange shows how high the stakes are when it comes to parental rights, free speech, and government overreach. No matter which side you're on, there's no denying that this debate cuts deep into how we balance public safety with the rights of individuals. Thanks for sticking with me through this breakdown. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button for more in-depth political analysis and news you can trust. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this debate? Are these memos a step too far, or is Garland just doing his job? I'll see you in the next video. Stay informed, stay engaged.